Cold feet and weak erections don't seem related until you realize they're both symptoms of the same problem: blocked circulation. For diabetics over 55, it's not aging that's stealing your performance. It's a starvation problem happening inside your blood vessels right now. Three specific vitamins act like an on switch for blood flow, but your doctor probably never mentioned them. They're too busy managing your meds and counting your carbs to address the nutrient gap that's quietly destroying your nerve signals, stiffening your vessels, and killing your drive. These vitamins don't just help, they restore. They repair the nerve pathways your brain uses to communicate with the parts of your body that matter most. They clear the hardened vessels that block blood from reaching where it needs to go, and they reignite the hormonal fuel that makes desire possible in the first place. The first one fixes something most doctors never check, even though it's the reason your brain can't communicate with the parts of your body that matter most. You know that ghost sensation, numbness creeping into your feet, loss of sensitivity during intimacy, extremities that feel cold even when you're warm. That's not random. High blood sugar erodes myelin, the protective coating around your nerves. When myelin breaks down, signals for erection and arousal get lost before they ever reach their destination. Your brain sends the command, the nerve tries to deliver it, but the message dies halfway there because the wire is stripped bare. Methylcobalamin repairs that wire. It rebuilds myelin so nerve conduction speeds up again. Signals that used to fade now reach the muscles and tissues controlling intimate response. For men, that means stronger firmness, sustained performance, and improved responsiveness. For women, it means enhanced sensation, better arousal response, and restored nerve signaling to genital tissues. This isn't the cyanocobalamin you see in most supplements. That's the synthetic form your body has to convert before it can use it. Methylcobalamin is the active form. Your body uses it immediately, no conversion required. That matters when nerve damage is already happening. But even methylcobalamin won't work if your gut can't absorb it, and most diabetics have a hidden absorption problem that blocks even the best supplements. I'll show you how to bypass that in a moment. Food sources include clams, which deliver the highest concentration. One serving gives you over 3,000% of your daily needs. Salmon, beef liver, fortified cereals, and eggs all provide solid amounts. If you want a gourmet option, try Japanese miso-glazed salmon with seaweed salad. One elegant meal delivers 200% of your daily requirement, but most diabetics need more than food can provide. Absorption drops when you're on metformin or proton pump inhibitors. That's why supplementation becomes essential. Take 1,000 to 5,000 micrograms daily. Use the sublingual form. It dissolves under your tongue and absorbs directly into your bloodstream, bypassing the digestive issues that block absorption. Take it on an empty stomach for best results. The best brands include Jarrow Formula's Methyl B12 and Pure Encapsulations B12. Both use the active form and third-party testing to verify purity. I've linked the exact products in the description so you don't have to guess which form or dosage matches what we just covered. Methylcobalamin is safe even at high doses. Your body excretes what it doesn't need. But if you're on metformin or proton pump inhibitors, your absorption is compromised. Supplementation isn't optional. It's essential to stop the nerve damage from getting worse. You'll notice changes within weeks. The tingling in your feet starts to fade. Sensitivity returns. For women, natural lubrication improves and arousal response speeds up. This isn't about masking symptoms. It's about rebuilding the infrastructure your body needs to function. Nerves don't heal overnight, but methylcobalamin gives them the raw material they need to repair themselves. But here's what most people miss. Fixing the nerve signal doesn't matter if the blood itself can't reach where it needs to go. That's where the second vitamin becomes critical, and it works in a way standard B1 never could. That heavy, sluggish feeling in your legs. Difficulty maintaining performance, losing firmness halfway through. These aren't signs of low desire, they're signs of vessel stiffness. High blood sugar doesn't just damage nerves, it caramelizes your blood vessels. Excess glucose binds to proteins in your arterial walls through a process called glycation, forming compounds called advanced glycation end products, AGEs. These AGEs make your arteries stiff like old rubber hoses that can't expand anymore. For erectile function, that's a disaster. An erection requires your penile arteries to rapidly dilate and fill with blood. Stiff vessels can't expand, blood can't rush in. Even if the nerve signal arrives perfectly, nothing happens because the pathway is blocked. Benfotiamine scrubs those vessels clean from the inside. Standard thiamine, regular vitamin B1, is water-soluble. It can't penetrate deep into arterial walls where AGEs accumulate. That's why it fails for most diabetics, even at high doses. Benfotiamine solves this with one molecular advantage that changes everything, but only if you take it the right way. More on that in a moment. Benfotiamine is fat-soluble. It crosses into the vessel lining, activates an enzyme called transketolase, and breaks down the glycation products that stiffen your arteries. Clinical studies show it restores elasticity to blood vessels damaged by years of high glucose. Your feet warm up, hands regain sensation, and intimate areas respond faster because blood flow improves throughout your entire vascular system. For men, that translates to stronger, more sustainable erections. Flexible vessels fill properly and maintain pressure. For women, improved genital blood flow leads to better lubrication, faster arousal, and greater comfort during intimacy. The advantage over regular thiamine is absorption. Benfotiamine is 5 times more bioavailable than standard B1. It reaches tissues that water-soluble thiamine cannot. That's why it works when regular B vitamins don't. Food sources include sunflower seeds, pork, black beans, trout, and brown rice. If you want a gourmet option, try pan-seared pork tenderloin with black bean puree and toasted sunflower seeds. One serving provides a therapeutic dose with restaurant-quality presentation, but food alone won't reverse existing damage. You need concentrated supplementation. Take 300 to 600 milligrams daily with a meal that contains healthy fats, avocado, olive oil, nuts. Fat enhances absorption since benfotiamine is lipid-soluble. Without fat, much of it passes through unused. The best forms include Doctor's Best Benfotiamine and Source Naturals. Both use pharmaceutical-grade benfotiamine with verified potency. Benfotiamine is generally safe, but it can lower blood pressure. If you're already on blood pressure medications, monitor your levels closely and coordinate with your doctor. The combination can drop pressure further than intended. Also avoid it if you have kidney disease without medical supervision. Your kidneys may struggle to clear excess thiamine derivatives. You'll notice results within weeks. The first sign is usually warmth returning to your extremities. Then performance improves. Erections become firmer and last longer. Women notice increased natural lubrication and faster physical response to arousal. This isn't a temporary fix. Benfotiamine doesn't just improve symptoms, it reverses the underlying vascular damage. Each dose clears more AGE buildup, restores more elasticity, and opens more blood flow. Over months, your circulatory system rebuilds itself. But even with clear vessels and working nerves, there's still one problem that keeps everything from actually functioning, and it's the same reason you might feel nothing even when everything else is in place. The third vitamin solves that, but only if you take it the right way. Low stamina, lost drive, morning fatigue so heavy you can barely get out of bed. It feels like desire itself has vanished, and no amount of willpower brings it back. That's not in your head, it's hormonal. Vitamin D3 isn't just a vitamin, it's a hormone regulator. It controls testosterone production in your testes and ovaries. It also regulates nitric oxide, the molecule that dilates blood vessels for erections. Without adequate D3, your body can't produce enough of either. For diabetic men, low D3 compounds an already serious problem. Diabetes lowers testosterone on its own. Add a D3 deficiency and testosterone plummets even further. That's why so many diabetic men report complete loss of morning erections, zero spontaneous arousal, and performance that feels impossible no matter how much they want it. But here's where most people make a critical mistake. They take high-dose D3 without K2, and that creates a calcium traffic jam that can actually calcify your arteries instead of strengthening your bones. Let me explain how that happens because understanding this could save your cardiovascular system. D3 increases calcium absorption from your gut. That's good for bones, but dangerous for arteries if calcium isn't directed properly. Without K2, that extra calcium floats in your bloodstream and deposits into your arterial walls, hardening the very vessels you're trying to keep flexible. K2 acts as the traffic cop. It activates proteins that grab calcium and shuttle it into your bones where it belongs while pulling it out of your arteries where it doesn't. Osteocalcin directs calcium to bone. Matrix-GLA protein, MGP, blocks calcium from depositing in soft tissues like blood vessels. When you take D3 without K2, you're flooding your system with calcium but giving it no instructions on where to go. That's how people end up with calcified arteries despite taking bone-healthy vitamin D. For intimacy, this matters enormously. Calcified vessels can't dilate. Blood flow to genital tissues drops. Even with restored nerves and cleared AGEs, nothing works if the arteries themselves are rigid with calcium deposits. The combination of D3 and K2 solves this. D3 produces the hormones and signaling molecules your body needs. K2 ensures they work in the right places without damaging your circulatory system in the process. For men, restored testosterone means improved libido, stronger erections, better stamina, and increased confidence. For women, balanced hormones improve lubrication, arousal, and overall sexual responsiveness. And nitric oxide, the molecule D3 helps regulate, is the open valve signal that allows blood to flood into genital tissues. Without it, arousal is physically impossible, no matter how strong the desire. Food sources for D3 include fatty fish like salmon and mackerel, egg yolks, and fortified dairy. K2 comes from natto, aged cheese, and fermented foods like kimchi and sauerkraut. If you want a gourmet option, try grilled salmon with fermented kimchi and aged Gouda. One meal combines D3-rich fish with K2 rich fermented foods in a restaurant-quality pairing that delivers both nutrients in therapeutic amounts. But most diabetics are severely deficient in D3. You need supplementation to reach optimal levels. Take 5,000 IU of D3 with 100 to 200 micrograms of K2 in the MK7 form. MK7 stays active in your bloodstream longer than other forms of K2, giving it more time to direct calcium properly. Take it with your largest meal of the day since both are fat-soluble and absorb best with dietary fats. The best brands include Thorne Vitamin D/K2 and Sports Research D3 plus K2. Both combine the nutrients in proper ratios with third-party testing. The specific versions are linked in the description to save you from choosing the wrong ratio or wasting money on forms that don't absorb properly. D3 and K2 work as a system. D3 without K2 risks calcification. K2 without D3 lacks the hormonal boost that restores drive and function. Together, they regulate blood flow, optimize hormones, and keep your vascular system clear. If you're on blood thinners like warfarin, consult your doctor before taking K2. It affects clotting pathways. Also get your D3 levels tested to avoid excess. Target 40 to 60 nanograms per milliliter for optimal function without toxicity. Beyond circulation and hormones, D3 and K2 protect two organs. Diabetics can't afford to lose your kidneys and your brain. Your kidneys filter blood constantly. High glucose damages the tiny capillaries inside them, leading to diabetic nephropathy, one of the leading causes of kidney failure. D3 reduces inflammation in kidney tissue by suppressing NF-kappa B, a protein that triggers inflammatory cascades. It also lowers albuminuria, the leakage of protein into urine that signals early kidney damage. K2 prevents calcium from depositing in kidney tissue. When calcium accumulates in the filtering units of your kidneys, they scar and lose function. K2 activates matrix-GLA protein in kidney cells, pulling calcium out before it crystallizes. Studies show diabetics with adequate K2 levels have 18% less protein leakage in urine, a direct measure of preserved kidney function. Your brain relies on steady blood flow. Diabetes increases your risk of vascular dementia and cognitive decline because glucose damages the small vessels feeding your brain. D3 improves cerebral blood flow by enhancing nitric oxide production in brain arteries. It also protects neurons from oxidative stress, the free radical damage that accelerates brain aging. K2 keeps calcium out of brain arteries. Calcified vessels in the brain reduce oxygen delivery, leading to memory problems, brain fog, and increased stroke risk. By directing calcium away from soft tissues, K2 preserves the flexibility of brain arteries, maintaining the blood flow your brain needs to function clearly. This isn't just about performance, it's about protecting the organs that determine whether you stay independent or decline into dialysis and cognitive impairment. D3 and K2 work together to prevent the systemic breakdown diabetes tries to cause. You might be wondering why you need all three instead of just picking the one that sounds most important. The answer has to do with how your body actually processes these nutrients and why taking just one can sometimes make the problem worse. These aren't isolated fixes. They form a complete circulation and performance restoration system that rebuilds your body from the cellular level up. Methylcobalamin repairs the nerve signal from your brain to intimate areas. Without it, arousal commands don't reach their destination. Your brain says go, but the message dies in transit because the wiring is damaged. B12 rebuilds that wiring so signals travel at full speed again. Benfotiamine clears and softens the blood vessels. Without it, blood can't flow freely even if the signal arrives perfectly. Your nerves fire correctly, but stiff, clogged arteries block the blood rush needed for physical response. Benfotiamine scrubs away the glycation products, hardening your vessel walls, restoring the elasticity that allows blood to flood in rapidly. D3 and K2 provide the hormonal fuel and keep pathways clear. Without them, desire fades because testosterone drops. Nitric oxide production slows, eliminating the open valve signal that dilates blood vessels, and calcium deposits into arteries instead of bones, calcifying the very vessels you're trying to keep flexible. Think of it this way: B12 is the phone line connecting your brain to your body. Benfotiamine is the cleared highway allowing blood to travel. D3 and K2 are the engine and fuel that power the entire system. Remove any one piece and the system fails. Repair the nerves but leave vessels stiff? Nothing happens. Clear the vessels but leave nerves damaged? Signals never arrive. Fix both but ignore hormones. Desire disappears and nitric oxide production stops. You need all three working together. Improvements typically show up within 4 to 8 weeks as nerve repair and vessel restoration occur. This isn't a quick fix. It's a cellular rebuilding process. Consistency matters more than megadoses. Your body needs time to regenerate myelin, clear AGE buildup, and rebalance hormones. For intimacy specifically, the first changes are often increased sensitivity and warmth. Blood flow improves to your extremities, feet stop feeling cold, hands regain normal sensation. Then firmness and stamina improve as vessels dilate properly and nerves conduct signals efficiently. For men, the morning test is often the first sign B12 and benfotiamine are working. Morning. Erections, technically called nocturnal penile tumescence, aren't about desire. They're a pure vascular health check. Your body triggers erections during REM sleep to test whether blood vessels and nerves are functioning correctly. No psychological factors involved. Just your nervous system running diagnostics. When morning erections disappear, it's an early warning that vascular or nerve damage has crossed a threshold. When they return, it confirms your vessels are dilating properly again and nerve signals are conducting at normal speed. Cardiologists actually use this as a marker for cardiovascular health. If penile arteries are working, chances are your heart arteries are improving too. The progression is predictable. First, partial morning firmness returns, maybe 60 to 70% of what you remember. Then over weeks, it becomes fuller and more consistent. Finally, spontaneous arousal during the day comes back, which means your autonomic nervous system is confident enough in your vascular capacity to initiate erections without conscious effort. For women, increased natural lubrication and faster arousal response are early indicators. Genital blood flow improves, nerve sensitivity returns, and hormonal balance supports normal sexual function again. The physical changes often appear before psychological readiness catches up, which is normal. Your body is rebuilding trust in its own capacity to respond. These same mechanisms that restore circulation also improve insulin sensitivity and glucose control. Better blood flow means better nutrient delivery to cells. Restored nerve function improves your body's ability to regulate blood sugar automatically. Optimized hormones reduce inflammation that drives insulin resistance. There's also a confidence factor. As physical function improves, psychological barriers naturally diminish. Performance anxiety fades when you know your body will respond. Embarrassment disappears when intimacy becomes reliable again. That mental shift compounds the physical improvements, creating an upward spiral. Here's how that upward spiral actually works in practice. The first time you notice morning firmness return, something shifts mentally. You stop bracing for failure. That reduces cortisol, your stress hormone, which was actively suppressing testosterone and constricting blood vessels. Lower cortisol means better hormonal balance, which improves physical function even more. Then you try intimacy and it works. Not perfectly maybe, but noticeably better than before. That success rewires your brain's expectation. Instead of "this probably won't work," your default becomes "this might actually happen." That expectation reduces performance anxiety, which eliminates the adrenaline spike that diverts blood away from genital tissues during arousal. Now you're in a reinforcing loop. Each success builds confidence. Confidence reduces stress. Lower stress improves hormone balance and blood flow. Better function leads to more success. The cycle feeds itself. The psychological component matters more than most people realize. Studies show men who believe their ED is reversible respond 40% better to treatment than men who view it as permanent, even when using the exact same interventions. Your brain's belief system directly affects blood flow through stress hormone pathways. For couples, restored function changes relationship dynamics. Partners stop walking on eggshells. Intimacy becomes spontaneous again instead of a scheduled, pressure-filled event. That emotional safety reduces cortisol for both people, improving physical response even further. This is why addressing the physical foundation first with these 3 vitamins creates cascading improvements in areas you wouldn't expect. Fix the biology and psychology follows. Taking all 3 together produces synergistic benefits you can't get from trying one at a time. They work on different systems that depend on each other. Fixing one without the others leaves gaps that prevent full recovery. Your body hasn't forgotten how to perform. It's been starved of the tools it needs to function. Give it those tools consistently, and it will rebuild itself. But there's one thing working against you that most diabetics don't realize, and if you don't address it, everything you just learned could be undone by your very next meal. Even with perfect vitamin intake, blood sugar spikes undo vascular repair in real time. Every glucose spike re-stiffens the vessels you just cleared and re-damages the nerves you just repaired. You've just given your body the repair tools. Now you need the daily defense that keeps those repairs intact. 2 common kitchen spices control post-meal spikes better than physical activity. Most people already own them. They work in the 30-minute window after eating when damage happens fastest, faster than walking it off, faster than any exercise. This is how you lock in the progress. The video on screen shows you exactly which spices to use, when to take them, and why they work better than exercise for stopping spikes before they destroy what these vitamins are building.